Creativity is not just an asset in business, it's truly a superpower. It's the key to building a brand that feels alive and magnetic and deeply aligned to your soul's purpose. When you embrace your unique ideas, your perspectives, and different ways of doing things, you naturally stand out. And your business stops feeling like a struggle, it's more an expression of your soul. But you may be wondering how to consistently tap into creativity and trust in your business. And that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. If we're meeting for the first time, welcome to the heARTscaping studio. My name's Chamonix. I'm an artist and mentor for creatives and visionaries. I've been nicknamed the Mindset Magician, and I'm known to do the spiritual stuff without the fluff. So if you're interested in up-leveling your confidence and your creative potential while enjoying an abundant and fulfilling life, then you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic. We're going to explore why creativity fuels success, and we're going to look into some powerful practices that help them tap into a creative mindset in their daily life and in their business. Creativity makes you magnetic in business. If you think for a moment about the brands that you really enjoy, chances are they don't just share a product. They have an experience, they have a mood, maybe even a story that makes you feel something. And that is creativity at work. There are different ways that we can integrate this into our business. One of my favorite ways is vision mapping. So if you take time at the beginning of any new cycle, that might be the beginning of the week or the beginning of a new season, even the beginning of a new year or just after your birthday. One of the favorite cycles that I like to work with is the cycle of the moon. The beginning of every new moon is a beautiful way to begin anew and work with cosmic energy to support you in your business. If you take that time to map out creative ideas, any kind of offerings, any kind of content that you feel to share that's most alive for you at the moment, I like to use a really big sheet of paper and scribble all over it. Some of my clients prefer to use a whiteboard and they get their whole team involved. Or you may like to just take some time out, take your journal and just jot down some ideas there in your own time and alone. But the important part of vision mapping is to let your ideas flow, no matter how wild they may seem. Just trust that you can just put all the ideas down and start to create the map later. The key here is to find what is most exciting for you in this moment, what is most alive, because that is what is going to be magnetic to your dream clients, not just to everyone, but the people who you truly desire to work with. Creativity leads to innovation, and that is the key to long-term success. We don't want to just blow up overnight and be a one-hit wonder in business. We want to be able to continue to evolve with our brand, our products, and also with our clients. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know are not people who follow the trends. They're the ones who create deeply from their authentic selves, and they're able to fully trust their creative instincts. So if you ever find yourself stuck in the comparison trap, rather than looking around and trying to figure out what is working well for others, ask yourself, what is most aligned for me in this moment? What if you launched a product or a service that is exactly what you deeply desire to create at the moment? What if you shared your story in a more bold way? What if you gave yourself permission to trust your instincts instead of just applying a strategy? I believe that soul and strategy belong together, that instead of applying some strategy that someone created for business, you apply a strategy that is in alignment with your soul. I used to run a series of events called the Soul Strategy events. And what I did in these events was help individuals figure out what their soul deeply desired beyond what their mind was telling them. Because our mind is very conditioned to do things in a particular way. That's not innovation, that's regurgitation. But when we tap into our soul and we trust our creativity to guide us in new ways, we can create something that is truly unique. And that is what is going to help us stand out in the business place. Every successful artist understands that their creativity is a direct line to divine inspiration. When we are creating, we are not brainstorming. We're not using our minds. We're dropping deep into our heart and we're creating from that place. You probably already know this, that your best ideas in business didn't come from that place of overthinking, of overanalyzing, but rather when you fully trusted yourself to go in the flow of your inspiration. I've heard so many of my clients tell me that they had their best ideas in the shower or on a walk or during a meditation. And what I inspire them to do is to figure out, where does your creativity come to you the most easily? How can you make yourself available? There are a lot of artists who I know that have a ritual of calling in their muse. And this can sound a little bit out there, but I think that it's a very strategic way of doing life and business. If we want to be inspired, we want creativity to collaborate with us, we want that divine inspiration to come to us, we need to make ourselves available for it. And we need to set up times within our busy schedules where we carve out time to be available. Every business owner has meetings throughout the day for different reasons with different people. What if you allocated time every day or every week to have a meeting with your own creative inspiration, so that if divine inspiration wants to come to you, if you are the best person to bring something to life, that inspiration knows when to find you. It knows where and how you are going to be most available. And that is something that you can create through having a weekly or a daily ritual, something that you do with the specific intention of being open to inspiration. That doesn't mean that inspiration will come every single time, but you open up that space to be a vessel for that inspiration to flow through you. The key here is allowing ourselves to be open to the flow, to not try and force something. We often see people who have creative blocks, or look, I don't believe that creative block is a thing. I think it just happens to people when they're stuck in their heads and they're not allowing themselves to be in that creative flow. So allowing ourselves to surrender and to allow creativity to flow through us with ease is an intention. And we need to set that intention and create space for it to allow it to be. The energy of creativity is very playful. You can't force creativity. The energy of creativity is very playful. And we know that we don't want our businesses to feel heavy. We want them to feel joyful and playful, but we still, to some degree, have this belief that it's not possible to have fun, that work has to be work and play has to be play. But what if you could bring elements of play into your work? What if you could have breaks where you allow yourself to soften into that playful energy? So this will look completely different from one person to another. I have some clients who love to put on some music and dance. If they get stuck in their heads, they dance it out for 10 minutes with some ridiculous tune from their youth. For example, for me, I'm an artist, so I actually have a regular practice within my day where I'm creating. I have one client who takes breaks during her day and organizes herself a beautiful plate of food, because nutrition, color, and food are things that are very important to her. But we've brought art into that, the creative playfulness of plating up a fruit platter, for example, and making it really beautiful and enjoyable. This is something that is a version of play for her. This can help shift your mindset and come back into the energy that is most conducive for creativity. So it's kind of like creating a cycle, right? We can either be creative and allow ourselves to play with it, or we can step into that playful energy and allow creativity to flow from that. We really need to understand that our unique perspective is our power. When it comes to creativity, no one can create what you can in the way that you can. We can often look to other people and get inspiration on how they're doing it. But ultimately, the best things that we have to offer, the ones that are completely unique to us, that are not repeatable, that are not able to be copied by anybody because they are so deeply authentic to us. So what that looks like practically is understanding your brand voice, what you stand for, what are your values, and have a look at what sets you apart to others in your industry. Everybody has their own flavor of weird. It's okay to be weird. I think that's the best and most interesting thing about us. But when we allow ourselves to really lean into those little quirks and those things that light us up, that makes us incredibly creative and magnetic in our business for the right people and the right clients. it resonates with people. Something that I recommend doing on a regular basis is before we create something or before we launch something, is really tuning into, is this authentic to me? Or am I doing this because I think I should? We need to come back into that authenticity, because that is where our truest power lies. And we need to harness that and not try and do things in the way that other people would do it, or share in the same voice that they would, or use the same fonts that they would, or use the same colors that they would. We need to find what is true and unique to us. A truth to deeply integrate is that your uniqueness and your authenticity is a strength, and that is the greatest thing that you have to offer. You know, in my dream world, people treat creativity as a business currency. When you treat creativity as an asset, it will help you feel so much more alive in your days. Your business, everything that you create through that business will feel fresh and alive and expansive. If it doesn't feel expansive, if it doesn't feel like it's bringing growth, then it's probably not in the highest alignment for you and your business. We tend to think that creativity and innovation are just the things of artists, but I think it's the cornerstone of business, and we should be relying a lot deeper on our own creativity and trusting our instincts, so that what we can bring into the world is something that the world needs, that we have to offer, rather than just repeating what has always been done because that's what we were taught in business school, or that's what some coach taught us to do 5 years ago. The world is evolving, and we are agents of this change. We need to bring our unique magic into the equation. Your intuition and your creativity are so important in business. These are not things that need to be on the outside. We need to bring them into our daily practices, our daily rituals, so that we can really truly be the innovators and the creators that we came here to be. I would love to hear in the comment section which one of these practices most resonated or felt like something that you could bring easily into your daily practice. I'd love to hear how that goes for you. A creative mindset doesn't just make us more innovative. It also makes our whole life experience more joyful and more fun. So if you feel like you need some help to get out of your head, please check out the offerings I have below. I might be able to support you in bringing these practices into your life in a way that feels really aligned for you. So I'd love to know which one of these practices most resonated. And if there's someone who you think might benefit from this, please share it with them. Please consider subscribing so that I can see you in the next video. Thank you, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.